First. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate First for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Here's the 1-1. And a swing and a fly ball left field. Rode it back into his lap. That's going to be gone. Oh, it cleared. It cleared for Castellanos. It had just enough legs. And it's a grand slam for Nick Castellanos as the Phillies break it wide open here in the bottom of the sixth. It's 10-2. The pitch is lined into right. Coming on, Marsh. He makes a sliding catch, and that's the ball game. And that's a 3-game sweep for the Phillies over the Toronto Blue Jays as the Phillies win 5 out of 6 on this homestand. And once again, what a difference a week can make as the Phillies sweep the Jays with an 11-4 win today.
Oh, how about that? A nice sweep for all you negative Nancys out there for the Phillies. First week of June, happy already canceling season tickets, making plans for October. Come on. This team is good, and you saw it this weekend. Blue Jays, good squad. 2 series now you've seen them play. That's a decent team up there as far as in Toronto. AL East, 38-33, 38 wins coming into the series, and, of course, losing 3 straight. You do the math on that. Of course, the Phillies, 42-29, 42nd win on the season. Yesterday, Zach Wheeler, masterful. Of course, they still trailed the Mets. Well, by the way, coming to town this weekend. What do you say about that, sports fans? All right, Luke Arcaini is going to join me coming up at about 3:10 here. And Luke was at Citizens Bank Park for crossingbroad.com all weekend long. We'll talk a lot about the Fightins and what they have to face this evening. Great read over at Crossing Broad, too, by our good friend Joe Tanzi. Of course, Gambler Gang's own there. Talking a little bit about the Phillies and Marlins game coming up this evening. Sandy Alcantara on the mound, and minus 113 favorites with Mick Abel getting the start for the Phillies. So we'll go in depth on that game, talk a little bit about from the betting perspective, big picture conversation from the weekend, though. And it's just fun. It's entertaining when the team goes out there and scores runs like they did, especially with the performance of Zach Wheeler. So I got a lot to discuss as far as the Phillies and Major League Baseball are concerned. Shohei Ohtani coming back to the mound, too. That's a big one for the Dodgers tonight. We'll talk a little bit about everything from the weekend. Major League Baseball gets you caught up, because I know Father's Day was a big day for all of us to unplug, unwind, do some stuff with the kids and the wife and significant others, get out of the house. I bowled yesterday. First time bowling in forever. I rolled a 137. I'm curious, is that decent? Like, how do people roll 200, 250, 300 perfect games? Yeah, it's a perfect game. Not everyone does it. That is insane. And the hierarchy of sports, it's just as far as things that you do in sports, and whether it's at, the bar, or whether it's at your softball league or something you've done from high school, rolling a perfect game's got to be up there. It's got to be up there. If you're going to lay it all on the line, no hitter in baseball, winning a gold medal, rolling a 300. Bowling is tough, man. That's all I know. All right, we'll talk a little bit about everything with Luke Arcaini when he joins the party at 3:10. Here's the deal, though. Yesterday and, of course, the weekend, whether you're a gambler or a golf fan, or you get out on the course and, mash it around, all eyes were on the U.S. Open. Oakmont delivered and then some. That was incredible from start until finish. Of course, we know it took place at the end of the 4 rounds. But, man, my hat's off to Oakmont and what they put the golfers through. Now, we knew what was going to happen due to history. We talked a little bit about the previous time that Oakmont hosted it, the previous couple times that Oakmont hosted the U.S. Open, what those numbers were. So we knew it was going to be tough. But you saw on day one, including J.J. Spawn, where a couple golfers were under par. And, it didn't look like it was all that difficult. Well, the weekend eventually caught up to them, and the course was dominant. Oakmont was incredible, and I loved every minute of it. To the point that yesterday afternoon or around, the rain delay kind of, how funny was that? All of a sudden, everybody's waking up going, dude, Tiger Woods, Rocco Meat, like, what's going on here? But the rain delay put a little bit of a damper, I could say, pun intended, on that. And then next thing you know, you started to see like, okay, man, it's really unfair now with these conditions. But we'll talk a little bit more about in depth as far as whether they should have been getting relief and all that. But Oakmont, I loved it. About, I think it was before the delay or right after the delay, they come back out there. There were no golfers under par with about 4 or 5 holes to go for basically everybody that was still out there. No golfers were under par in a major. And for me, for my money, sign me up. That's what the U.S. Open is all about. There was a gentleman that took the microphone after J.J. Spawn won, and he let it be known that everybody wants an opportunity for a tee time. Everybody across the world, all 50 states in the United States, everybody across the world wants an opportunity to compete for a U.S. Open. So if you're able to win it in those conditions at a course that's notoriously known for how difficult it is, man, that was insane. Perfect theater, cinema, as they say. And J.J. Spawn, who was leader after one, kicking butt and taking names, had himself a struggle fest to open up shop. Very lucky in round 4 yesterday, where he bogeyed 5 out of his first 6, bogey or worse, 5 out of his first 6 holes, hitting the pin. The ball was jumping off. And next thing you know, he's got to be chipping instead of putting or tapping in for a birdie. He was so unlucky, but man, it did not matter. And all of a sudden, J.J. Spawn with an opportunity to win the U.S. Open. This dude does not win often. And he gets a great read from Victor Hovland. And what does he do? Man, cinema.
To win the U.S. Open at Oakmont, one of the hardest, if not the hardest test in major championship golf. For the win, J.J. Spawn, ball up and over the ridge. It's on a very good line. This could go in. J.J. Spawn makes it! It's the biggest moment of his career. J.J. Spawn conquers Oakmont and is your 125th U.S. Open champion.
64 feet in the middle of the cup. He goes birdie to close out, and he wins the U.S. Open. J.J. Spawn, man, my hat's off to you. I said he deserved it because of what he went through. And, of course, as I said, dude was at the top on Thursday, all around the top of the leaderboard throughout the course of 4 rounds, just really calm. And he has that demeanor. Going into this tournament, what do we say? It seems like it's a great spot for those heavy hitters, like the Brooks Koepkas, guys that could just mash it. Well, take a look at the leaderboard. Any of those guys at the top of the list? I know they all hit it a long way, but man, it took a little bit more in my mind, what the mental side of the game than anything. You saw some greats. Justin Thomas just absolutely blow up. We love JT here. Of course, we're SPF. He had an atrocious start. Just go down the list of all the great names. They weren't at the top. They weren't there. Scotty Scheffler was. He had an opportunity. I'm sure he's probably kicking himself. John Rahm was there too as well. I think he finished 4 under. So look, there were some big names, but at the end of the day, man, I didn't hear many people talking about J.J. Spawn getting the job done. All right, a lot to discuss. Of course, U.S. Open at the top of my list. And you know what? Let's hear from JJ, especially about the birdie shot, the birdie putt to win it. Here he was following the round.
In the practice round, I hit a nice, same sort of ball-shaped shot to the pin. I was just envisioning that. Pulled it off, and it was a nice finish where it was 12, 15 feet behind the hole. Happy to walk away with a birdie.
Here's the deal, man. JJ Spawn, 65 feet foot putt to win the U.S. Open. He shot 40 on the front nine. All sorts of history. We'll get into all of it. But joining us right now, Luke Arcaini, who was at Citizens Bank Park all weekend long. I think he mixed in a little bit of the U.S. Open as well. Phillies did finish yesterday a little earlier, and Father's Day at the Arcaini household as well. Hopefully, old man had a great day, Luke. I saw him working. Never takes a day off. Come on, Mr. Arcaini.
No,
Never. But let's open up with that U.S. Open, man. You are a golfing aficionado here for all things a gambler gang. Luke plays pretty damn well. Matter of fact, just chopped it up with a couple Philadelphia Eagles players at a Ron Jaworski course. You'll see that video coming out soon. But your thoughts on JJ Spawn getting the job done at the U.S. Open?
Yeah, it was just incredible. He had some crazy odds going into the weekend. Because it didn't seem like a player that can go out and win the U.S. Open. I mean, he's had a good year. Obviously, he was in the sort of sudden death, with Rory back at the Players. But this is a different game. I mean, I think everyone saw it, and even the guy that shot a 40 on the front yesterday ended up winning the tournament. It's crazy to say that, and it's funny because I was sort of riding down the stretch here yesterday, those last few holes, and I was talking with Joe Tanzi, and we were trying to figure out a few live bets just because it was the craziest tournament I've watched in a while, and we realized that the best players that we could have bet on with 3-4 holes left as far as the last group was the guys that were already done. And that's usually the opposite, right? If you have any sort of plus money on a guy that's one stroke back with 3 holes left, you want to jump all over that every time. Yesterday, the second Robert McIntyre finished his round, I jumped on McIntyre live because I knew he was done. That's how hard the course was. So it was just absolutely insane. He played, I mean, we're going to go back and obviously remember that shot that he hit on 18, that 65-foot birdie putt to win the U.S. Open. The shot of his life was the drive on hole 17.
Yeah.
The drivable par 4, if he gets into the rough there, he's probably making par. He's probably going to have to birdie, to go to a playoff or whatever. And man, he hit one of the best shots he's probably ever hit in his life. Just missed the eagle putt, ended up making birdie. But I mean, just an unbelievable 4 days from him. And a guy that is starting to inch his way in the Ryder Cup contention now. Because when you're in these majors, I mean, we saw it the last few years. Guys like Wyndham Clark winning a major, Brian Harmon winning a major the last few years. Those guys get into the Ryder Cup because it's just, one, they've earned the respect, and two, they're really playing some awesome golf.
Yeah, Spawn, he's got to be a Ryder Cup bid at this point in time, right? Yeah. He's definitely got to get in there. The story, though, it starts and ends with Oakmont. And what a course. Everything it went through, taking on all of that rain. And you know what, man? That grounds crew, I know it kind of came off a little cultish for some people, but, man, that's pretty cool in my world. Like, they have this song where they get everybody going. Those dudes are up, those guys and girls, are up at the butt crack of dawn out there with, headlamps on their head so they can cut a straight line. That job ain't for that job is not easy. Let's just put it that way. You got to be dedicated. And maybe maybe majority of them are probably volunteering. Who knows?
Yeah. And it's especially hard when I don't know if you saw any of the clips, but they don't cut their rough with riding mowers.
No, because they want it to
squashes because it squashes down the grass.
Correct.
So they have assembly lines of about 25-year-old people out there hand walking the rough. Dude, it's an art up there. That is an artistic course. It is.
Yes.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, there was a video, I can't remember what outlet posted it, but there was a video where they sat down with like 8 or 9 like big names. I believe it was Monday of the tournament.
Yep.
And the question they were asked was, would you be okay with finishing this weekend at even par?
Yep.
Every single person on the video said yes.
Yeah. It's incredible.
You would never hear that. You would never hear that anywhere else. It's unbelievable. And I mean, you said it. That is what U.S. Open golf is. Like, last year was great at Pinehurst just because it's Pinehurst. It's a legendary course. But
Sure.
people getting to see these guys and, realize that these guys are human. I mean, sometimes we watch Scotty Scheffler and we sit there and we say, I don't know if that guy's human. He looked human this weekend. Because this course just eats guys up. I mean, DeChambeau didn't make the cut.
Correct.
Wednesday night at a watch party, I placed a Rory DeChambeau missed cut parlay, and somebody thought I was crazy. And one stroke, and I hit that.
Wow.
Rory made the cut by one stroke.
Yep.
DeChambeau missed the cut.
What were the
Rory
odds on that? What was the odds on that?
It was really, really nice.
Nice.
I can't remember exactly what it is, but
I like
it was
that.
nice. But yeah, it was a bloodbath, man, and that's what the U.S. Open should be. Because all these guys, they can go down to a link-style Hilton Head course and shoot 25, 30 under on the weekend
Easily.
But like this weekend is really when you see, not necessarily just the best golfers, because I don't think because obviously the best golfer in the world didn't win the tournament this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But you see the guys that can battle through a course like that. And you see guys that you look at on a normal golf course and they're like, yeah, they're great. And then you see a guy yesterday like Hatton who can't get out of the rough to save his life, loses his ever-loving mind, and then his round's done. And he probably lost about $1 million on the last two holes because he was tied for first, and I think he dropped back to like tied for sixth. It was absolutely incredible. It was an awesome, awesome weekend in Pittsburgh.
It really was. They delivered and then some. JJ Spawn, I believe, won 4.3, I want to say was the number with winning the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Not a bad payday there, but putting out. And look, there's a lot of history with what he was discussing as far as he thought last year his career was going to be done. He was going to be looking for a new job, teaching golf. He's a very relaxed type of dude from L.A., skateboarder. A lot of videos are surfacing now. Some great stuff on the content, on the timeline. Yeah, he finished 1 under, only golfer to finish 1 under. Robert McIntyre, another one that you said from the quote, he said that, you give me 4 rounds of just par golf, I think that that's going to win. And he had an opportunity to get to par, and he finished 1 over. It still would not have been enough due to the fact that Spawn went birdie to close up one of the toughest rounds of golf ever. Now, let's talk a little bit about the conditions. I want to get your thoughts on this because some people were very upset on the timeline with the fact that Sam Burns had to hit from essentially a place where they were pushing the water out of the fairway into the rough. So this is a spot that his ball ends up in the fairway, and he's not the only golfer that had this issue after the weather delay. So I'm just curious, where do you stand on this? Because I think the ruling itself should have given all of the golfers relief that were in those similar situations. And the rules official, not one, but two, both said no to that. I want to say it like this. The rules are the rules, and therefore I think that Sam Burns should have gotten relief, and I think a lot of golfers should have gotten relief if that's what happened yesterday after the weather delay. But I will say this. If you're not going to give it to Sam Burns and you don't give it to everybody else, consistency, I'm fine with it. Is that the right way to look at it? Or would you just rather, everybody gets a little bit of relief if their ball is in somewhat of some trouble area? And you couldn't see the water. That was the issue for Sam Burns' shot. But if you push down on it, you saw, this is a puddle.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Sam Burns, welcome to our normal golf course that we play every Saturday morning after it rains. I mean, that's the same situation we have once a week, right? But yeah, no, it's tough because, by the rules, he should have got relief yesterday. And that's not saying he's going to go on to win the tournament. But I completely understand why he was frustrated.
Yeah.
Because, he can be that guy and he can pull the rule book out of his golf bag and point right to it. And, That's what the rule is. Not saying it was as wet, but at the same time, JJ Spawn's approach shot on 18. Did you see how much water came off the club when he hit that to the green?
Yeah.
He hit the green there. So, like, you know, it's a tough situation, right? Because that situation didn't happen all weekend. And all of a sudden on the 14th hole of the US Open on Sunday,
Yep.
you have to make that decision on the fly. It's not like it even happened on the front nine earlier in the day, right? They obviously went through that 2-hour rain delay, and they come back. The course is soaked. They're walking through puddles. The guys are out there with the squeegees on the green. They're getting "Let's go squeegee" chants out there, right?
Sickos.
It's really tough because it's gotta be incredibly frustrating for Sam Burns, because once again, not saying he's going to win the tournament if he gets relief on that shot, but you know, from a outside perspective, that's a money shot for him.
Yeah.
You know, that if he gets relief there, maybe he makes birdie, maybe he makes par, he probably wins about $500,000 more, you know? So it's a very tough situation. I can't really say anyone was in the wrong, because I understand the rules official, when he walks up, he didn't see any water. But
correct,
when you watch Sam Burns hit the shot, Sam Burns also a guy who tends to play a fade, right? He's a normal left to right guy, and the ball just flew out right or left and never came back. So, like, it's pretty obvious it was extremely wet there on the ground. So, I mean, it's a tough situation.
Yeah, and I just want consistency. And like you said, it's hole 14. It's just a tough spot. But, man, the rules are the rules. Brett Baxton talked about it. And then people were putting on the timeline, he should have gotten relief. And essentially all the golfers, really, if they wanted relief, they should have gotten relief. But, consistency is key in my world. When it comes to, like, officials and umpires and everything along those lines, I thought they were pretty consistent. Leaving it at that, the story is JJ Spawn. Nice work by him. He cashed in 120-1 to win the U.S. Open. Unbelievable. If you had a play on him, I salute you. I sure as hell did not hear JJ Spawn on any of the breakdowns that I was listening to or reading. All right, we got Luke Arcaini. Let's talk some Phillies. And then I want to end on some high school baseball, where we're going to take it to North Penn and a state championship game decided by a balk. Tough break there for those kids. But let's talk about the Phillies. It isn't winning great, man. Like, it's entertaining. It's fun. 11-4 win. Zach Wheeler out there pitching great on Sunday. You know, it's just funny because you have the Giants that went out there and made the move for Devers, and they get the deal done. And look, as far as what they had to give up, come on, man. It would have been nice for the Phillies to be involved in those conversations. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we hear a little bit more and it's official. But at this point in time, it seems like it was a one-horse race to get Devers into San Francisco. But putting all that to the side, this team currently constructed, you know, that's the team right there. When a team sweeps the Blue Jays well above 500 at this point in time in a really difficult division in the AL East, that's the team right there this weekend that could make some noise come September, come October, and of course postseason. What's the difference? What was your big takeaway from these 3 games against the Blue Jays versus when they ended up losing 9 out of 10 and 5 straight just last week?
Yeah, I mean, it's the bats. It's as simple as that. If this team hits, they're going to win because their pitching is great. If this team doesn't hit, they're going to lose. And I know it's a silly answer, but it's really the truth. They went up to Toronto, they didn't hit, and they lost. They came back home, 6 games home, 5-1 homestand. They went 5-1 because they hit the baseball. The biggest thing about this Phillies lineup is 5 through 9 is more important than 1 through 4. You know what you're going to get from Schwarber. You know what you're going to get from Trey. You know what you're going to get when you have a healthy Bryce, you know, in the range, whether it's some crazy MVP Bryce or it's a 275, 280 average with an 850 OPS, right? You know the range that you're going to get out of those 3 guys. It comes down to the last 5 guys in the lineup. You know, are you getting the extra base hits from Bohm? Are you getting the extra base hits from Casty? Are you getting a consistent Max Kepler? Are you getting a JT Realmuto hitting the ball? What are you getting from Marsh and Stott, right? Like, the back half of this Phillies lineup is so important to them. And it truly is more important than the front half of their lineup. And that's what they got. These guys, after being on a really cold streak, they all got really hot. Max Kepler over the last week is steaming hot. Casey Realmuto, Rob Thompson has said for months that Realmuto struggles with only for timing. Well, it seems like he's found his timing because he's on a tear. Alec Bohm, it's insane to say. Alec Bohm's been a top 20 hitter in baseball since May 1st.
How about that?
And you think it's crazy, but you go and look at the stats and it's there. Brandon Marsh, since he's come back, is hitting over 300. They're getting the consistent contributions again, and that's what they need. They just beat up on the Blue Jays, who, I don't know if this counts because we only use this argument against us, but the Blue Jays have a winning record. So for all the people that want to use the Phillies don't beat teams with a winning record thing, they have the third best winning percentage in the National League against teams over 500. So they're playing the schedule in front of them, and all of a sudden, a week ago, when everybody wanted to trade everyone, Phillies are back. And that is mainly because of the offense and just the unbelievable consistency from the starters. I asked Rob Thompson the other night, how relieving is it to at this point not even almost have to worry about what starter you have going out that night, because you go and look at one night, it's Jesus Luzardo, who looked like he was going to win Cy Young through the first 12 games. Oh, then it's Ranger Suarez. Oh, then it's Zach Wheeler. Then it's Mick Abel, who has a 2.35 ERA. It's just the starting pitching consistency that they're getting right now is incredible. They're living and dying on the offense, which is a really, really hot offense right now.
That's right. And 5 out of their last 6, 2 against the Cubbies in that 3-game series, and of course the sweep against the Blue Jays. And I want to sit here and say, yeah, they should go down to the Marlins and sweep them. Marlins have won 3 straight, so they got a little something cooking right now for them. And also I don't want to look ahead, but a monster of a series coming our way on Friday when the Mets come to town at Citizens Bank Park. Sun will be shining. It's going to be a beautiful day down at the ballpark. Unlike this past weekend, hey, winning cures all. That's all I know. All right. Anything for you on tonight's game? Alcantara on the mound. Of course, they beat up on him pretty good earlier this season. Mick Abel, what do you want to see from him? Getting, I think, his 4th start this season, or for 4th professional start altogether. What is your thoughts going into tonight's game where the Phillies are slight favorites at -113?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. This line to me is incredibly disrespectful. I think what did you say, 115?
13.
For
13.
The Phillies going -113 for a Phillies team that's 13 games above 500 going down to face Sandy Alcantara as a 7.5 ERA. I think -113 here is absurd. I don't even know if there's a point in taking -1.5 when you can just get almost a flat number at that point. But yeah, no, I mean, this should be a win for them tonight. I will say Alcantara's looked better in his last 2 starts. But at the same time, he faced, I believe, the Pirates and the Rockies.
Correct.
So you can take that with a grain of salt, I would say. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty obvious play.
Can't
believe that line.
Oh, good God. Yeah, the gods above are messing with your signal today, Luke. Last time we had the Phillies and Marlins play where Sandy, I say Alcantara, he says Alcantara. We'll put it in the middle. Whatever. We know who he is. He's a damn good pitcher. He was. Last time was April 18th, and he pitched 2 innings, and the Phillies beat him up pretty good, where they were able to get 6 earned runs across the plate in that one. Only 1 home run where they won 7-2 once again back on April 18th. Oh, by the way, those Rockies beat up the Braves yesterday in Atlanta. We like to see that. All right, let's end on this one, Luke, and we'll bring it home. And, of course, the folks over at Crossing Broad have it. It was something that was said to me in the parking lot by a lovely couple that came to my I needed some help on Saturday. My aide to get things off the ground as far as the music is concerned at Beef Up Front Tailgate. My goodness, more on that a little bit later on just an absolute error by your boy over here. But yeah, they were North Penn alums and they were listening to the game via some stream. Somebody had it and they were like, the game was called on a balk in the 13th inning. Bases were loaded. And of course, you got a young kid up there who ended up just flinching. The videos are out there, and I think it's pretty easy for me to say this. If you are an umpire in that position, you have to call it. You have to call it. A balk is a balk. Your heart breaks. At the end of the day, it was bases loaded, nobody out, so chances of North Penn not giving up a run were very slim. But it's one of those deals, man, where we all complain. Everybody gets a medal. Everybody gets a trophy. And those same people are in the comments going, you can't call that. Like, we'll pick a side, people. Yes, you can. It was a balk. It was a good call by the umpires. It sucks the game ended that way. Whether it's a state championship game, exhibition game, it doesn't matter. A balk is a balk. It must be called.
It is the funniest part about it for the people that are saying you can't call it. It was quite literally one of the most obvious balks I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Like, he moved his whole entire leg.
Kid was feeling
it's unfortunate. Like, it's extremely unfortunate. It's a horrible way to end a 13-inning game.
For a state championship.
For the state championship.
God.
But man, it's one of the most obvious balks I've ever seen. Anybody getting on the umpire is just an absolute lunatic. I mean, that was probably the easiest call he made all game.
Yeah.
It's extremely unfortunate. It really is, and I feel for the North Penn team and that kid on the mound. Because, and I'll say this, I really hope to God that kid wasn't a senior, because that's a tough way to go out.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah. You don't know.
You don't know, but that is such an obvious balk, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I saw Kevin's got an article over there at CB, so check that out. And of course, North Penn losing the 6A state championship game on a balk is a tough way to go, but got to give a nod to the umpires on the right call there. All right, Luke, great stuff, man. We'll catch up a little bit later this week. Big week for the Phillies, of course, getting the party started tonight against the Marlins, hopefully with a victory. Keep some of that winning mojo going right into the big Mets series on Friday getting started, where I will be in attendance. Father's Day present for my father-in-law, and we're getting together with all the sons. It's gonna be a good time. Good seats too. The boys got me good seats, so I'm ready to go. Luke, you're the best. We'll continue to read you at crossingbroad.com. Always a pleasure, sir.
Sir, thanks, Sean.
My man, there he is, a little bit all over the place. STT Sports Network checking in. Over under 25. Your handicap at Oakmont with those conditions. Dude, I shot, I'm hitting the ball better. I'm taking lessons, changed my swing up all, just the path altogether. And nearly not going to the driver range enough, which is unfortunate. So you go and you're trying to work on a freaking change of a swing on the golf course. Yeah, that's not going to work out. But on my best day, I'm shooting 110, 105. Like on my best day at Oakmont, 110, 105. Like the greens. Even if you hit, first of all, the course, and I'm not playing the tips. Like, give me 200 if I play the tips. Normal tee box when I play, whatever. Like, even if you hit the ball, with the driver of the 275 straight down the chute, perfect. And then you give me my 3-wood and I'm able to put it up there, or, 4-iron, whatever it may be. Getting on the green, now the hole begins. Those greens are ridiculous. So if you're not dialed in putting, you are going to 4-putt. Unless you walk in with the frame of mind of going, all right, that hole is 10 feet instead of just a normal cup, and I need to put it in that. And even then, it's difficult to make a 10-foot putt on those greens. They were glass, just undulation, like you saw from the winning putt of J.J. Spawn. Sure, he had the read because of Hovland right in front of him. But how about the fact of how wide he had to take it? What was that, 10 feet? 8 to 10 feet to the side, comes down that hill. Was it a double breaker? Those greens are ridiculous. That course is insane. And I loved every minute of it. More of that. I know people, you get people from both sides. People complain about everything. People like it. For my money, one time a year where you get a course as difficult as the U.S. Open should be. Now, Bryson won at Pinehurst, I think 5-6 under, whatever it was last year. And it's a difficult course. Nobody's saying Pinehurst is easy. But you get these guys in there and they have to hit their A-plus shots, as Bryson did on 18, the 50-plus footer or, 50 yards from the bunker, right? And he drops it within whatever it was to that cup to win. I think he was the only guy up and down on that hole from that position too as well last year. Spawn to go birdie. Like, that's what it takes to win those type of majors. But man, that course, perfect. I love that stuff. And fortunate that the weather had to come in and be a factor. Nobody wants that. The course is already difficult enough. Now you're having like just a flood coming in, and it changed everything. And like I said, it was very unfortunate to see a guy like Sam Burns deal with it. But he wasn't the only golfer. And I'll leave you on this one as I'm rambling about all things U.S. Open. I have to get it in now because Mark Henry Jr. doesn't talk golf. Mark Henry Jr. is coming up at 4 o'clock. Mark Henry Jr. was just completely missing from the text chain yesterday. He told us on air that he muted the word golf. He is not a golfer. We got to get Mark Henry Jr. to at least top golf. Just swing a club one time for me, Mark. We'll bring that up with him at 4 o'clock. To each their own. To each their own. Now, nobody's taking any shots. You don't have to like golf. Some people don't like golf to play, but some people like to watch it. I think it's fascinating from a gambling perspective, right? So let me get this in now before he joins me, because he has no idea and doesn't care to talk about anything golf related. But as far as, what we saw this weekend at the U.S. Open at Oakmont and the struggles that they went through to even be even par, and of course dealing with those conditions, Scotty Scheffler, the best player in the world, not the captain of the Ryder Cup, excuse me, that's Bradley, but the number one player on the Ryder Cup for representing Team USA, was asked the question, and I thought he nailed it. Post round, he was asked, can you comment on the weather to stoppage and starting? Any effect on you at all? Scotty's answer, 2 words, outdoor sport. There it is. It's an outdoor sport. Sometimes you get the break, sometimes you don't. STT Sports Network, appreciate the comment there. Keep them coming. Once again, we're always live on all things socials, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of the platforms that you can stream live at this point in time. Be sure to get involved with the conversation live right there, and always listening to us on the iHeartRadio app. All right. A lot to get to from the sports world. Didn't even get an opportunity to get into the Devers trade. There was a lot of people just going absolutely bonkers on the timeline, comparing this to Luka. I get it. It's fresh. It's in our mind. And Devers is a hell of a batter. Clayton Kershaw, you don't have to take my word for it. I know Mark Henry Jr. is going to talk a little bit more because we talked about this Devers possibility of being traded earlier, remember, in spring training with the whole Bregman deal. And whether or not he would move off of third base. Just got the brand new contract, owed a ton of money by the Red Sox. There's like a couple different conversations taking place. But if you want to compare him to Luka Doncic, I can't get there with you. Devers is a hell of a ball player. He's a stud. He's also a .279 career average. He is one of the better hitters in the game right now. But it's funny. Something hit me. We go crazy if you talk about an NBA player, such as Tyrese Halliburton, who's playing in the NBA Finals, Game 5 tonight. If you call him a superstar, and he's playing at a superstar level, but if you call him a superstar, people go berserk, and I'm not saying he is. You can pick whatever player you want in the NBA. I just think it's funny where people go nuts if you say this player in the NBA is a superstar, yet Rafael Devers is a superstar in Major League Baseball, he's a pretty damn good hitter. Defensively, we know what he is. Has he ever won an MVP? Where has he finished as far as voting is concerned over the years? We can go over the other awards that are out there. I'm curious. But people, I saw it on my timeline. He's a superstar, and that's all you got in return. I'm like, wow, that's funny, because if you say a player in the NBA is a superstar and he's not named LeBron James or Kevin Durant or SGA or Steph Curry or Giannis or Joker, if he's not one of those 6 players I just mentioned, people lose their minds. Rafael Devers is a superstar in Major League Baseball? I don't know. I think we need to change our terminology when we talk about Major League Baseball players, maybe just a little bit. I think there needs to be a little bit more with that term superstar than just what takes place on the field. To me, superstar on the court, yeah, these guys are all amazing, but the accolades have to be there. And there has to be a little bit more of a following, people like Steph Curry changed the game. Like, Steph's a superstar. You know it. I feel Devers is a superstar. He's a damn good hitter. Come on, people. Anyways, that deal has a lot of people losing their minds, rightfully so. If you want to compare it to the Dallas trade as far as what they got back in return, I can get there with you. And, oh, by the way, if you want to talk about Devers and Luka Doncic's defense, of course, very comparable in that manner. But other than that, come on, people. All right, let's keep it moving. Other side, NBA Finals, Game 5, best of 3. We are rewarded right now in the doldrums of summertime. Is today the first day of summer? I think it is. Is it? I thought it was Tuesday. No, it's not the first day of summer. It's June 20th. So we are 4 days away. Excuse me. I'm sorry. At my gym today, I work out. Some girl was like, "Oh, it's first day of summer." I thought she said it today. It's the week of the first day of summer. Anyways, Friday, June 20th, first day of summer. Could it stop raining in the summertime? That'd be great. NBA Finals, best of 3. Stanley Cup Finals, best of 3. 2 in Oklahoma City, 2 in Edmonton. Will the home team win both championships? That's a question we have to ask ourselves right here, right now. And I hate to make it as simple as that, but man, you mean to tell me at this point in time of the season, home court, home ice doesn't have a significant meaning more so than ever right here, right now? Really tough. We'll go over the numbers. We'll talk about both series, but more of a focus on the NBA Finals. Game 5, tipping this evening. And watch out. The NBA is coming for those ratings. Just put Caitlin Clark on the sideline and Taylor Swift in the box. It's all you got to do, I guess, these days. 9.5 point spread, 224.5 is your total in that one. 9.5 is a very high number, but not as high as it's been in this series. Going back to game 2, I think was 11-point spread for Oklahoma City, favored in that one. But here we are, OKC 9.5 point favorites tonight. Not so much do or die, but man, the Pacers let one go in game 4 due to the fact that the MVP performed like an MVP in the fourth quarter. A lot of NBA Finals discussion coming your way. Mark Henry Jr. will be joining me at 4:05. It's the Daily Ticket on Monday. More after this.
Spring is in the air, and it's time to swing for the fences. Our MLB coverage is bringing heat all season long.
Everybody moves up 90 feet.
Be sure to catch Luke Arcaini and Sean Brace on the Daily Ticket. Only one place that covers all the action. It's The Gambler.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu.
And you can be there
for a weekend full of superstar performances, never-before-seen collaborations, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today at AXS.com. And we'll see you at our 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Presented by Capital One.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're down the Schuylkill westbound approaching University Divine and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound, stop and go Montgomery Drive to south. The Vine Expressway westbound backed up Broad to the Schuylkill. Eastbound tied up Schuylkill 95. 95 southbound, south of Cotman to the Betsy Ross. All right, to tell it, total traffic
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
You see what I see, love?
Her grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next two combined. So whatever your customers are into, true crime, sports, comedy, culture, they'll hear your message. Plus, only iHeart can extend your message to audiences across broadcast radio. And all this reach means everything. Just think about the universal marketing formula. The number of consumers who hear your message times the response rate equals the results. Now let's get those results growing for you. Think podcasting can help your business? Think iHeart. Streaming, radio, and podcasting. Let us show you at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Or call 844-844-iHeart. One more time, call 844-844-iHeart and get podcasting working for you.
Oh, no, not again, Moose. That's my third premium ball in the water today.
So just grab another one, Harry.
Yeah, easy for you to say. These balls are expensive.
Not mine. I get all my balls from buymyballs.com. That's balls with a Z. Top quality, recycled premium brands for a fraction of the price.
Wait a second, Moose. So you're playing premium balls and not freaking out when you lose one?
Yeah, you got it. Hurry up. You're holding everybody up.
Ha, yep. I'm ordering from buymyballs.com right now. Buy premium golf balls without the premium price. buymyballs.com.
iHeartRadio just gave driving an upgrade with Presets, now on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Your go-to stations, podcasts, and playlists, all just a tap away on your dash. Start your engine, hit play, and drive happy. Free with iHeartRadio on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Hey, have you heard this? Macy's is previewing our lowest prices of the summer on furniture and mattresses now before the sale starts Thursday. That means early access to July 4th deals on beautiful outdoor furniture sets, customer favorites like the Radley Sectional, and top mattress brands like Sealy, all at 20 to 65% off. So get to Macy's now to save big, beat the rush, and give yourself more time to relax on your brand new furniture from Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat? Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Daily Ticket with you here on a Monday. Raining outside. Ho-hum. It rained all weekend long. The hell's going on? Enough. Summertime this week, getting the party started on Friday. Mets coming into town. Citizens Bank Park's the place to be this weekend for a great series against the Mets. First place on the line, hopefully. I think trailing by 2.5 games right now. Marlins, who do the Mets have? Shame on me for not knowing that. The New York Mets will be taking on the Atlanta Braves. They are off today, tomorrow back at it. So they will play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday against the Atlanta Braves, and then come into town on a Friday for a 3-game series against the Phillies. Mets ended up having a bad stretch against the Rays where they were swept at Citi Field. So hopefully they can keep those negative vibes going to Atlanta, and then, of course, here to Philadelphia. But, again, that's going to be a big series. You're going to get the best of the best in that one. Speaking of best of the best, we opened up talking all things U.S. Open. I love it. A lot of comments coming in, man. Just people that were fans of the game, fans of just sitting home and something to watch. Of course, not a lot on. People yelling about that. No NBA Finals, no NHL Stanley Cup Finals either. Maybe a missed opportunity. We've said that a lot lately in these past 2 weeks. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. You're giving me something to watch on Monday night. I was able to do stuff. You know what I watched last night? Titan on Netflix. That documentary about that ship, that little pod that went down, where the scientist was Stockton Rush. Is that his name? Yeah. That's a good little watch. Titan. It's on Netflix, about an hour and 50 minutes long. And that dude was a weasel. Bad dude. It definitely shows, and it's unfortunate. People lost their lives and then some. Now you got families that are dealing with the losses of those lives that went down to the abyss to look at the Titanic and just an unsafe craft. But you learn a lot. And, of course, his background, he was a very smart man, but he definitely was way in front of his skis. A really good watch, though, on Netflix. So that's what I was able to watch last night. All over the place here, as always, on a Monday. Mark Henry Jr. is going to join us coming up at 4:05, though. Let me hit this, though, because NBA Finals Game 5 tonight, best of 3, going down in Oklahoma City. 9.5-point spread, 224.5 is our total in that one. And when you start to talk about this NBA Finals, we're zigging and zagging. And here's an opportunity for the Oklahoma City Thunder to, well, a lot of people were saying 6. A lot of people were saying 5 too, right? A lot of people were saying 5 games. Jay-Z had $1 million bet on Fanatics. Do you see that? That did not cash. So here we are, best of 3. And what are you looking for that's going to be the change in this game here? And 9.5 is a very, very generous number, no doubt about it, and a extremely pivotal game, no doubt in that mind, as far as, whether if Indiana can lose this game, win game 6 on the road and come back and win a game 7, you're asking a lot. So tonight is probably the game that Indiana needs to have if they're going to win this series. Again, it's a best of 3, so there's no reason. They had the golden opportunity. Let's just be honest about it, putting all the, buzzwords to the side. The Pacers, after winning game 3, going up 2-1, had an opportunity to win the NBA Finals by not having to win a road game. Think about that. There it was, in the palm of their hands, where they were up by 10-plus points headed into the fourth quarter. The better team throughout the course of 3 quarters at home in a game 4 spot, where if they win that game, all they have to do is win one more home game, and they're NBA champions. And for everything that was put out there at the beginning of this series, this would go down as one of the biggest upsets in sports. Definitely NBA, top 5 NBA upsets ever. But this is definitely one that registers as far as a sports all-time upset. And that list is long, and there's some greats at the top. This would have been one of them. So I'm asking myself, did we overvalue OKC a little bit here? I don't think we did. I know I heard Jason McIntyre and Cowherd yucking it up before they got off, and they were saying things that most of the time, they do mean what they say, but it didn't feel like that they were words that they would stick by. This is a damn good team. And the only thing we can judge is the record that they held, right? Where we know that they were incredible in the West. And they lost one time to an Eastern Conference team all season long. Think about that. This team was dominant. They had the reigning MVP in SGA. They played defense better than a lot of teams we've ever seen. That's all reality. Like, is this a team that would go up against Kobe and Shaq when they won their titles, or Jordan when he won his 6? Probably not. No. The Curry Warriors with Durant, probably not. No, but this is a damn good basketball team that shouldn't be. But nobody was shocked that they're in this spot. A lot of people had OKC winning it at the beginning of the season, and here they are. But the Pacers are the story, and they will continue to be the story if they go down there and find a way to win a game. I'm not seeing it tonight, though. I think Oklahoma City does win this game, but here is the rub. I think this is like a 6-7 point victory for OKC. And I normally don't want to put my money on a team, on an underdog that I don't think can win. But this is the NBA Finals. This is a demonic Indiana Pacers team. Nobody could figure out. I think that they're going to go down there and they're going to hang and they're going to have a lead. This isn't going to be a game 2 blowout where the defense kind of like took a back seat and it was like, we won game 1. That was evident when you watched that game. Not tonight. I think you see a great performance by Indiana. I think you see a great basketball game, a tight game. But when push comes to shove in that fourth quarter, I think defense will prevail. SGA is the best player on the floor, no doubt about it. He has a better surrounding cast on offense as well. I think you'll see some, contribution from some players. Maybe Lou Dort actually has a big game. You never know. But it could be Caruso. We've gotten some good performances by some players that we weren't talking all that much. Obi Toppin is having a good series in my mind. Of course, TJ McConnell. Good grief. And that's really the kick in the ass when you watch this series, when you watch the Pacers now 2 straight years for me, is you have to ask yourself, like, how are they able to do what they're doing when we're so infatuated with star hunting? How many times have we heard that phrase here with the 76ers? And I get it. It's a star league, star-driven league. But, TJ McConnell was here. We don't have to go into the history of that. And I'm not saying TJ McConnell needs to be a 76er, but it is frustrating when you see a guy like TJ McConnell paying off, when you see an Obi Toppin, when you see a Turner playing well. He's been with the Pacers forever. But, no, you don't need a superstar to compete for a championship. Put a damn good team together. Be a great coach. Be a solid general manager. Build a franchise with some chemistry, with some culture. That's what the Pacers have right now. And that's what's the kick in the ass. And I'm not even focusing on the Thunder. What Presti's been able to put together, and of course he had an embarrassment of riches to work with and still does, but he deserves a ton of credit for what he's been able to build in Oklahoma City, and specifically getting SGA in a Thunder uniform and hanging on to him, even though they went through a little bit of a tough stretch, I think 2 seasons. That's the kick in the nuts for me when you watch this series and you go, man, how far off the Sixers are compared to these 2 teams. And I don't know what the hell is going to change, and who knows what this draft is going to do for the 76ers. The chances are they're going to move up. We'll talk a little bit about that with Mark Henry Jr. He's going to join me at 4:05 here, but that's the tough pill to swallow, is the Sixers are so far away from both of these teams and, competing for an NBA championship. I saw an article. We were talking about that last week from Philly Voice. How do the Sixers compete for a championship? It's like, wait a minute. What? Let's make a playoff run here. Okay, first, let's get to the playoffs. All right. Other side, though, we'll get Mark's take on Game 5 tonight. We'll also go Marky Puck, because him and I went head-to-head with the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. We'll talk a little NHL, Stanley Cup Finals. Pretty damn good series. It's been all 4 games long, including Game 4, where it was 3-0 Florida, and Edmonton won on the road in their barn. How did that happen? Great series, best of 3 coming our way. So we'll talk a little bit about that with Mark. Definitely can't wait to approach the Devers trade with him, and whether or not the Phillies could potentially make a move for a name that would register, like Rafael Devers. Man, that sent shockwaves on the timeline. People were freaking out yesterday, and I look at it from the Giants' perspective. They lost to the Dodgers yesterday, but you got to love it. Buster Posey going for it, man. And you just want your team to be aggressive. You want your team to go out there and get somebody that's going to be a stud. And I don't know if the Phillies will. We know how Dombrowski operates when it comes to trades, but at the end of the day, we want to win a World Series or get back to the World Series. And I think a big bat like Rafael Devers would definitely help out. Now, I know he was never getting traded here. I know it's taking place, but you understand what I'm saying. So we'll talk a little bit about the Major League Baseball trade deadline, July 31st. And get caught up as far as the Phillies from Mark Henry Jr.'s perspective, host of the Tough Cover Radio Show right here every Saturday from 11 to 1. MHJ on the other side. It's the Daily Ticket. More after this.
Looking for sun protection that actually works and feels great? Wear SPF by PGA Pro Justin Thomas has you covered, both on and off the course. Dermatologist tested and sweat resistant, it's broad spectrum SPF that won't mess up your swing or your skin. From the first tee to everyday life, Wear SPF is a high-performance skincare collection that helps you protect yourself like the pros. It's par for the course. Shop now at wearspf.com and stay sun-safe all year long. That's wearspf.com.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Well, check out Ice Cube's Big Three all summer long. Fast, physical, and fun. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know. We highlight Jennifer Lawson, President and CEO of Keep America Beautiful. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Hey, it's Natalie Eganoff with your Philly Sports Trip Sports Minute, your fast break of everything Philly sports. This segment is presented by Philly Sports Trips. Book your next game day experience at phillysportstrips.com. Phillies continue to battle injuries. Right-hander Aaron Nola suffered another setback in his return. An MRI revealed a right rib cage injury, and he'll be shut down for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, manager Rob Thompson says slugger Bryce Harper is starting to feel better as he recovers from his right wrist inflammation, which landed him on the 10-day IL last Friday. Phillies welcome the Blue Jays to town this weekend. Grab your glove and your dad and make some memories down at the ballpark. The Eagles wrapped up mandatory minicamp this week. Birds won't be back on the field until late July when training camp begins. Tickets for the season and the public practice on August 10th are now on sale. And in a powerful off-the-field move, Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie has donated $50 million to launch a new autism institute with Pen and Chop, the largest gift of its kind, showing how lasting legacies are built beyond the scoreboard. Before we go, a big salute to all the dads out there, the ones who taught us how to throw a ball, cheered from the sidelines, and passed down their love for Philly sports. Here's to you today and every day. That's your Philly Sports Trip Sports Minute. Want to treat dad like a VIP? Book your next trip together. Tailgates, travel, tickets, they do it all. Visit phillysportstrips.com and make your next trip unforgettable.
This Sports Minute was presented by Philly Sports Trips, premium travel and tailgating experiences for the passionate fans of Philadelphia.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
This is 11-year NBA veteran Katina Mobley. This is what's trending from iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Thrivent.
Baseball first for the Phillies start a 4-game series with the Marlins tonight. They look to extend their winning streak there to 5 games. Nick Abel takes the hill for Philadelphia. Pacers and Thunder face off in Game 5 of the NBA Finals tonight in Oklahoma City. That series now tied up at 2 games apiece. And it'll be the Panthers facing off with Edmonton tomorrow in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Florida up there 3-2. I'm Scott Davidson.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because the most important thing isn't what you're planning for, it's who. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Jammed up on the Schuylkill westbound University past the Vine Expressway and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound, stop and go Montgomery Drive to South. Vine Expressway westbound back to Parkway to the Schuylkill eastbound tied up Schuylkill 95. 95 northbound jam Betsy Ross to Bridge. Architella total traffic
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
Kubota Orange Days delivers the savings you need for the life you love. Shop a wide selection of equipment at your local dealer, including America's #1 selling compact tractor, and get your perfect match delivered to your door. Designed for comfort and built for performance. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. Sales ending soon. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
#1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeart Radio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Daily Ticket with you here live on a Monday. Sean Brace and Mark Henry Jr. joining the party after a great weekend in sports for the majority of us. Mark Henry Jr. is not a golf fan, so anything golf related. Don't worry, Mark. I got it off my chest. I said everything I needed to say about the U.S. Open and the golf course and everything along those lines before the 4 o'clock hour because I know where you stand. But that's all right. I respect it. And there's plenty of other stuff to discuss, including the Fightins with a big 3-game sweep over the Blue Jays back in action this evening, taking on the Marlins. Oh, by the way, NBA Finals. Oh, by the way, Stanley Cup Finals. You and I going head-to-head. How you feeling? 2 of 3 in Edmonton. 2 of 3. I told you, watch out for them Oilers.
Yeah, it's definitely it definitely got my back again. Wait, they're up 3-2. What are we talking about? You just tricked me.
Oh, well, look, bottom line is you're right. All I know is Edmonton still has an opportunity to get the job done.
Yeah, I feel fantastic, Sean Brace. I put 750 up 3-2. I need to win one of the next 2 games. You didn't get me all tricked up for a second. Yeah. I was like, wait, are we down 3-2? I was pretty sure we were up 3-2.
Well, look, it's been a great run, and what a game that was for the Oilers to come back and make it somewhat of a series, because I thought that was it. I thought that was 3-1, right, if they lost that one. So the fact that we do have somewhat of a good series at this point in time, we'll see what happens.
But then they came back out and they got their butts kicked the next game. It's 2 of the 3 Florida wins have been absolute blowouts, and both Oilers wins have been in overtime. I think the Panthers are way better, but the Oilers have McDavid.
McJesus, as they call him. All right, let's go ahead and move off hockey talk for a minute. Let's talk about the Phillies here. Big-time win, series win, sweep, in fact, over the Blue Jays. Now 2 of 3 against the Cubbies last week, and 5 of 6, and things are looking good right now. But, I'm curious what the difference in your mind, what did you see that was a change from this series And of course, as I said, the 5 of 6 versus, the 2 weeks ago last week where they ended up losing 5 straight, 9 of 10. Everybody wanted to trade everyone. What's been the big thing that stood out to you the most that's been different for the Phillies as they now have righted their wrongs and are winning games again?
Well, the pitching got back on track. Wheeler was gone for a minute there. Mick Abel had one rough start, but now and the biggest difference, honestly, is Jesus Luzardo went from being an elite Cy Young candidate to then having the 2 worst starts you could possibly have back to back in the middle of that rough stretch. And now he's back, and it appears like his situation was more of a pitch tipping issue than anything else, and it seems like they got that corrected. I do think that there's a couple guys who under the radar have started to put it together a little bit at the plate over a pretty long sample size now. Guys who both started really, really rough to start out the year. I'm trying to get the exact numbers here on just how long it's been, but Alec Boehm has been pretty good since April 14th at this point. He was the worst player in baseball from the end of March when they started the season until April 14th. Since then, in a 54-game sample size, Alec Boehm's hitting .322 with an .838 OPS. The Phillies are 31-23 in those games, 7 homers for Alec Boehm, 28 RBIs in that stretch. So if that's the Alec Boehm you're getting, I think you're feeling pretty darn good about the offense compared to where we were at the beginning of the year, even just a week ago when Bryce wasn't hitting, when Schwarber wasn't hitting. And then I think maybe even bigger than Boehm and maybe a bigger development than Boehm because there's 2 spots to fill out in the outfield. With left field and center field, the way that they've been throughout the year, you were thinking, maybe they can't even do anything in the infield and they're pretty limited with what they are able to do at the deadline and who they can go get because left field and center field were both such big problems for long stretches. But Brandon Marsh is starting to look like the guy he was back in 2022 and 2023 over the last 34 games since May 3rd, since he came back up from the minors. He's hitting .333 with an .859 OPS. And that's in 96 plate appearances too. So it's not a tiny sample size. And just specifically in this kind of 5-1 stretch and what's been different in this 5-1 stretch compared to the last 5 games, Max Kepler is hitting the cover up the baseball. He's got a hit in 5 straight. He's got 2 homers in there, 4 RBIs. He's been fantastic over this last little stretch and getting a little bit of that production from the outfield has been rare throughout this season.
Yeah, look, Max had himself a game on Saturday, right? Then he hit the on Saturday. Or am I getting those games?
I believe so. Yes, I think that. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah.
Yesterday was all about Wheeler, in my opinion. Just a great performance by Zach Wheeler on Father's Day. How nice was that? So, again, now they get a somewhat of an easy series against the Marlins. Marlins just won 3 straight against the Nationals, and you get Sandy Alcantara out there. Do you go Alcantara or Alcantara?
I go Alcantara.
All right.
See, I don't think we'll have to go with it much longer because he might be pitching his way out of the league.
Out of the league? Isn't he going to get traded?
He's got a 7-something ERA right now.
I
mean, maybe he gets it right and gets it back together. He'll get a chance somewhere else, even next year probably, or I'm sure they'll trade him at some point soon. But Sandy is, I think, on the wrong side of it here. He's 29, but he's had some arm injuries, and I don't think he'll ever be close to what we saw there a couple of years ago. What year? 2022. He had a 2.28 ERA. He had a 4-year run, 5-year run of pitching really well, but 4.14 ERA last year, and now here we are at a 7.14 over 13 starts too. So it's not like it's been just a couple starts. My favorite bet of the night tonight is the Phils. I love the Phils money line. I think Abel. I don't even think last start was that concerning. I thought he fought his way out of some jams and showed some stones in some big spots, even though he didn't have his best stuff. Bullpen isn't that taxed compared to, they just had a couple blowouts, didn't have to use everybody out of the pen. So I feel pretty good about the Phils. I actually grabbed them at a bad number. I got them early this morning at like minus 124. I'm seeing they're minus 108 out there you can find. So I think that's a crazy number. I think the Phils should be minus 160, minus 170 in this game against a brutal Marlins team. I really don't get this line.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little earlier with Luke Arcaini. He said it was a very disrespectful number in his mind. And
I agree.
Right, yeah, minus 113 at this point in time at DraftKings Sportsbook. So hop on that. Let's talk a little about Mick Abel there, and let's focus on him for just a second. 5 strikeouts tonight, minus 115. You're looking at over 4.5 at minus 115 there. Anything for you on Mick Abel this evening? What do you want to see as just a fan in general? And then, of course, from the betting perspective, anything there?
The Mick Abel stuff is just staying ahead of counts, not walking guys. He really did a good job his first couple outings at doing that. And then last outing, he had some issues with it. But I feel really good. I love the Abel stuff. He throws hard, has really good breaking stuff. I think this is a great matchup for Mick Abel against the Marlins offense that doesn't strike a lot of fear into you. They've got 2 guys, with a positive OPS, I'd say, really at the bottom of the lineup, sitting 333. He's probably a little bit better than I'm giving him credit for. But this offense, I don't know how many of these guys, the average MLB or average. How many people are at Citizens Bank Park? 45,000. I guess this game's in Miami, so it'll be like 8,000 people there.
Correct.
But when the Marlins come and play in Philly, and there's 45,000 Phillies fans there, I think the over/under is like 2.5 on Marlins offensive players that at least half the park knows. It's probably like Jesus Sanchez and Xavier Edwards and maybe, Connor Norby. He was a big prospect at one point. The Marlins offense is brutal. I think this is a crazy disrespectful line. I'd like to see 5 or 6 innings out of Abel just to lessen the bullpen. Last time he only went 4, and they could have sent him back out there for a 5th. I think he was at 80 pitches or something like that, but they went to the bullpen. I'd like to see him get through 5, get through 6.
All right. Mark Henry Jr. does a great job hosting on the Tough Cover Radio Show every Saturday. When he hops on the Daily Ticket, we hop on the Sports Carousel, where we like to go around the world of sports. We hit on a little of everything, and I love it because Mark is very in tune with a lot of sports in general. Let's put it that way. Let's talk a little bit about this trade that took place. And again, this is over to the Phillies as well, because I'm curious whether or not they can make a move like a Rafael Devers, before July 31st. I know it's very unlikely, but this was a move that shocked a lot of people. And I'm curious to know why you think that was. We spoke about Devers earlier this year in spring training, and you were very, very high on him. So when this move went down, what was your immediate reaction? What are you saying right now? And on top of it, like I said, this Phillies team is damn good. When they play their A+ baseball, that's great. But, man, I watched the Dodgers. They got this kid out in center field right now. I didn't know who the hell he was. He hits a home run yesterday. Like, that lineup is just berserk. And all they're doing is they're going to add Shohei. They're going to add the other Japanese pitcher that was hurt, I believe.
They got 15 pitchers on the IL right now.
They got an embarrassment of riches. The players that they have in their lineup that take the field for them, Mookie Betts, the list goes on. Like, that's the bar. So, yeah, if the Phillies can make a move for somebody that's going to make all of the timeline for Major League Baseball followers or people that I follow and go, whoa, like that's a great move for the Giants. I would like the Phillies to be in that conversation as well. Your thoughts on the Devers trade, though? Let's start there.
Yeah, so I'll do the Devers trade first. Devers, this is an abomination. This is an atrocity on the same day that Liverpool went out and spent $150 million on a player, the same day that they traded Devers. And let's not mince words. This was a contract dump. This was a salary dump to the San Francisco Giants. And all the Harvard GMs and the Ivy League GMs out there, oh, that's too big of a contract. I can't push my pencils and get this paid for however much Devers has this for 8 years. Buster Posey out in San Francisco is able to look at that and go, How about Devers the top 15 hitter in the game? Let's bring him over here. Who cares if he doesn't want to play third or first, which, by the way, he came out and said he'll DH, he'll play first, he'll do whatever helps to help the team win. I think it shows that there was some communication problems there in Boston. Him and Craig Breslow never saw eye to eye. But for the Reds, and the biggest part of this, if they were going to do this, they should have done this when there was controversy in March or in April, when all of this was going down and he was saying he didn't want to help out the team and didn't want to DH and yada, yada, yada. You should have done this then. You should have traded him for nothing if you're going to trade him for nothing then. And then you at least have these exciting prospects. You can bring up Marcelo Meyer. You can bring up Roman Anthony. You can get the fans invested in something like that. But now you brought those guys up. You gave the fans a taste of what this team could be like with Devers and with some of the older pieces, with the Marcelo Meyer, with Roman Anthony. And guess what? They were unbelievable. They won 6 or 7 games. They swept the Yankees. The Yankees had their worst. Yankees had scored 4 runs in Fenway in 3 games. They haven't done that in a 3-game Red Sox series in 103 years, where they've scored 4 or less runs. The pitching, which has been a problem all year long, finally stepped up, while the hitting was also stepping up. And Devers have been fantastic over these last couple days. The timing and the public relations of this makes no sense whatsoever. I can't even wrap my head around this. And most of the time, we like to Philly everything. We make it about us and how would we feel about this? If this happened in Philly. Most of the time when that happens, we're talking about the Kansas City Royals or the Seattle Mariners or the Miami Marlins. They're a small market team that we can't pay them, so we might as well get some prospects and trade these guys right now. This is the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. You own NESN. You basically own a television channel. It makes no sense to me that the Red Sox are operating like the Tampa Bay Rays, like they have no money to go out and spend. You're the Red Sox. Go out and sell a couple other, jerseys and hats at Fenway. You'll make up the money. It is unfathomable to me that this just happened in a major media market. This is baseball's Luka Doncic. They got less comparatively for Devers. They got less than the Lakers got for Luka, I'd say, because at least Anthony Davis is a really good player. Jordan Hicks should be a reliever. The guy's a 6 ERA as a starter. He's getting paid a lot of money to do that terrible production. Kyle Harrison's a guy I've never gotten it with. I've never understood the vision with him. Giants fans liked him at one time. He's kind of went down the drain. And guess what? He's the centerpiece, their biggest name in this deal that they got. They sent him down to AAA. So much for loving Kyle Harrison. If you're the Boston Red Sox and you've got a struggling rotation, you send him down to AAA. They supposedly got the number 4 prospect in the Giants organization. I think he's a third baseman, but I can't speak too much to him, but that's not a big enough return. I don't even know if he was in the top 100 of Baseball America's prospects. So I just don't – there's no rationalizing this move. I can't wrap my head around it.
Well said. And I think a lot of people are in agreement with you, and especially Red Sox Nation, as they affectionately call themselves. I don't know if they still do, but that's what they were all those years ago. Cowboy up, Mark Henry Jr., date myself there.
I feel bad I just watched that the comeback documentary on Netflix on a flight.
Have you watched Titan? Have you watched Titan yet?
What's Titan?
Titan's that thing that went down.
Oh, yeah. Ocean Gate. Yeah. Fantastic stuff.
So good.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's what I watched.
I was captivated by that live when that was happening, as we all were. But
yeah, you know what? Because they disappeared, and I just assumed that they were dead.
Me too. But I was interested in the search of finding it and how close it was. I remember there was people at the time who thought what if this thing crash landed into the Titanic and disrupted this this historic thing? Yeah. But that was a crazy documentary. But the Red Sox fans, I feel terrible for them. They have been playing mostly irrelevant baseball since, and they had an incredible period from 2004 to 2019, whenever that last ALCS run was. They were the most relevant team in baseball for 15 years there. And since then, the last 5 years, they've been completely irrelevant for one of the major media market teams.
All right, Mark, back over to the Phillies. As you said, we always bring it to us, and it's funny. I thought you're spot on with your take there, because it is normally those teams that are at the bottom of the basement, or teams that we know can't be paying the money. The Red Sox aren't definitely not that, at least in my opinion. But two parts. One, will the Phillies end up making a move that somewhat registers? Do they need to, in your mind? Again, trade deadline a ways away, July the 31st. But in the big picture, Major League Baseball, speaking of the trade deadline, is this the trade of the deadline? Will we see something bigger than this in your mind?
I don't think so. I think Devers will probably be the best player traded. There will be much bigger packages given up for guys who are worse than Devers, but that'll have to do with team control and salary and things like that. So it's a little bit different. I will say the hot stove used to mean something. You know what I mean? Like when I was growing up, Baseball Tonight, all that stuff, the hot stove, the reports from Peter Gammons doing early Zooms, going into the program, talking about, there you go. Unbelievable noise.
Everything gets watered down, Mark, because now hot stove is in December, and it's like hot stove all the way up to February now. And hot stove, like you said, the trade deadline used to mean something. Do you be checking in the updates? They'd have that program on ESPN, and I'm sure that they still do, but it's definitely a different time, different day and age, as they say.
I remember Jason Bay was a big one. I remember there was a whole summer where we spent an entire summer talking Jason Bay. Is he a Philly? I think the Mets traded. I think it was the Mets trading for him. But there's always fun. Roy Oswalt was a big one when we traded for him. I remember that whole summer being about who was Roy Oswalt. Yeah,
Cliff was a trade.
One, obviously. Yeah, that stuff. I just remember for weeks checking on Peter Gammons and I'm forgetting the one name, the guy who used to follow Bonds around, Pedro Gomez.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Those guys, I just remember checking on those guys and on Baseball Tonight and being so invested day to day on what I would hear about these guys. Now it feels like trades just pop up, trades just happen, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess didn't know he was, didn't know he was on the market, and it's crazy how watered down the trade deadline feels now. What I would say to you, and to go back to your Dodgers point, you can't compare anything to the Dodgers. And I know in theory you have to beat them. I think you have to just feel like you are better than everybody else. And that gives you the chance. You're there, and it's a 5-game series or it's a 7-game series. And you just have to hope, like, I even think, even healthy, we might have a chance to have a better rotation than them. If you're fully healthy. So the hope is just, the rotation goes out there and bullpen holds up at the top, and maybe you add a couple pieces. I will tell you this: I don't really want to trade the big pieces out of the minors.
I'm with you.
I know that it's the time to invest and go all in with this team. I think that was probably even more so last year for me than this team. A lot of aging guys on this team. The contract, a lot of contracts coming up. What's going to happen with JT? What's going to happen with Kyle? What's going to happen with Alec? What's going to happen with Ranger? Zach Wheeler's retiring after 2027. There's so many of these names that are either coming up off the books or going to continue to get older. I don't think you can get rid of Aiden Miller and Andrew Painter and Mick Abel and Arun Escobar and Justin Crawford. Like, I think you need to hold on to as many of those guys as possible to hope that there is a next era or even a bridging of the gap. Like we've seen the Red Sox and so many other teams, like I just mentioned, from 2004 to 2018, 2019, they rarely had a bad year because they were able to bridge those Manny Ortiz years to Dustin Pedroia and Mookie and Xander Bogaerts years, and kind of it's two timelines like what the Warriors tried to do a couple years ago. But I think that's the goal. The goal is that this Bryce, Trey, Schwarber, Wheeler, Nola run leads into a, Abel and Painter and Escobar and Crawford and Miller and hopefully some of the younger guys on this team right now. And that's kind of the next era, and we don't have to have a rebuilding gap in between. I'm at the point right now where I don't think that there's anything any name I've heard floated out there where I'm like, you know what? Give it all up. Give up all the pieces. Go all in. Every name you hear is like, ooh, well, that doesn't fit perfectly because of that reason, or yeah, well, they can't really hit lefties, or oh, well, where's Brent Rooker going to play? Like, oh, well, that team's probably too good to want to trade that player. Like every player I've heard come up, there's a flaw there, and it's usually not going to be a perfect fit. If there was a perfect fit out there to slot right into center field or left field and feel good about them, maybe a right-handed power bat, I'm in, but I don't know if that's out there.
And I think it's, again, a great take because you're going to have to give up something to get something in return, right? Although, like the Devers deal, though, man, they didn't give up anything. It's like, what the hell's going on? Why couldn't we get a piece of that?
I think we didn't want to take. We didn't. What's I don't know what his remaining years are.
Oh God, it was crazy money. Yeah, it was
a lot.
crazy.
It's a lot of money, but that's what it is, and that's why that deal is what it was, because San Fran was willing to take all the money, and Boston wasn't going to have to pay a cent.
Because I'm looking at an article from MLB.com. A very expensive designated hitter. It says if Devers' current production be $31.35 million, he's getting paid is well worth it. But will it be well worth it in 2033 when he's well into his 30s? So, these are the conversations that, of course, you have to have yourself. But again, you got a Giants team that does compete with the LA Dodgers, in that division, that rivalry. So maybe a little something. And I tip my cap to Buster Posey. And at the end of the day, he won that deal. He won that deal by getting Devers in there. So far, we'll see how it plays out. All right, Mark. Yeah. Mark Henry Jr. here. Of course, Phillies take it on the Marlins and a big series coming up this weekend. Mark, got the Mets coming in. And right now, I was just looking at some division numbers. Plus 130 for the Phillies to win the division. How are you feeling about that number right now?
Surprised that number's not higher, to be honest. What's the gap right now? 2.5? Yeah, 2.5 games. Yeah, I guess it's just so early. And, you have two. I think they have another series with the Mets coming up pretty quickly after this weekend, too. I think they might play them again pretty quickly after. So many games left. Have we only played them once? I believe. I think there's only been one series. So probably have 4 more series. Or I guess 4 more series left against that team. That's why that number's so low. I certainly wouldn't be taking it.
All right, staying in baseball for right now, let's talk about Shohei Ohtani returning to the mound. Anything catching your attention in that one? Tansy was texting the group chat. Thought he had a pretty good take as far as the expectation, how long he will be going. We were looking at the strikeout prop. Anything you are, like just a baseball fan, does that excite you? Are you tuning in? Do you want to see Shohei on the mound tonight?
It'll be during the finals, so probably not. But I have a complicated relationship with Shohei. I'm a little mad that he's ruined the MVP award. Like, it's just, now that he's pitched, the MVP award's now over. Just hand it over to him. It's done with. But that's a minor quibble.
Minus 158 tonight versus Dylan Cease and the San Diego Padres, which, oh, by the way, some are saying the best rivalry in baseball right now.
I'd still say it's Yankees Red Sox. Like, I felt like the juice of this weekend, even though that rivalry has lost so much juice, it's hard to even put into words. I will.
Sox and Yankees. It's Ohio State, Michigan.
Yes.
It's UNC Duke.
This weekend got it going before the Devers trade. Like, I saw the Yankees and Red Sox fans going at it on the timeline, and the sweep doesn't matter, and then immediately you trade Devers and ruin it for your fan base. But the thing I always say with first starts back with guys, I generally fade. I generally if I was going to bet something here, it probably would be the Padres. What's the line on the Padres to make the playoffs right now, Sean Brace? I saw it was plus money pretty recently.
It's a good team, man. It's a good team, good sticks. I like the Padres, and I watched them last week against the Dodgers. It was a great series.
This was I think 9 days ago. This was Saturday. Not 2 days ago, but my radio show before that. I think I brought up that the Phillies were still minus 700 to make the playoffs at that point. And then I think by 2 days later that it went down to minus 300. But at the same time, the Padres were plus 120 while they were a game back of the Phillies. And I get it. The Dodgers are in that division. So that the way for the Padres to make the playoffs is going to be through the wild card. But I'm trying to
minus 120 right now for the Padres, minus 170 for the Giants on the yes, both on the yes. On the no, even money for the Padres to miss the playoffs, and the San Francisco Giants to miss the playoffs, plus 140.
Yeah, and maybe this is the wrong time for this because obviously the Giants just picked up Devers. I still think the Padres are like the fourth or fifth best team in the NL. I think they're a really good roster, really loaded pitching staff. I think they're going to be in October, minus 120. I don't know if it's worth, sinking your money down for a 4-month future on minus 120. But I do think they're in the playoffs. And I think it's shocking that the Phillies today are minus 650 to make the playoffs while the Padres are minus 120. Do we feel like the Phillies are that much better than the Padres right now? They're 2.5 games better, but I think they are better, but I'm not like that sure that we're going to make it. And they're not, I guess. But San Diego is a team that interests me in general.
All right. Once again, Ohtani on the mound this evening, and you could stream it for free on MLBTV.com. And we were talking about the strikeout number. Again, I don't expect him to go too far. I think 45, 50 pitches is what the expectation was. 1.5 on the strikeouts. I think that's worth a little sprinkle. That dude is a hell of a pitcher. And he's taking the mound, he's going to be one. They're not putting him out there unless he's got it. So, again, he's going to be on the pitch count. I would imagine the adrenaline's going to be pumping. So give me Shohei Ohtani on the over on the strikeouts. Why not? Have some fun with that. All right.
I did see someone say over a half of a walk was a good bet out there as well. I don't mind that. It's control. Control's not fully there, the command.
Walk this way, baby. Wish I had some Run DMC queued up. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Let's talk about some NBA Finals. And it's a best of 3. And you got Oklahoma City with 2 games at home. That the kick in the pills is the fact that the Pacers ended up losing. I'm right on that one, right? I screwed up the Stanley Cup. I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Saturday was a tough day for me. All right. It was a tough day for me, and I'm not in a good way. Not in a good way. I had probably one of the worst days that, like, easily in the last 5 years of my life on Saturday.
Oh, man.
And it was so unfortunate because it was Beef's day, Beef up front tailgate, and your boy ended up leaving a bag full of cords and wires and drove down. Oh yeah, and I drove down. It's embarrassing even putting this out here, but it is what it is. It's reality. We all make mistakes. I ended up leaving the bag with all the cords and all my DJing essentials. And I get down there to Link. It's raining, so of course we had to move it to the K-Lot. I come pulling in. I got the red fist up, beeping the horn, making a scene, pull everything out, and I'm talking the feeling in my stomach when I could not find that bag. I never want to feel that again. It was like death, like a puppy died in my arms. That's what I felt, and I do want to give a shout out though. Because, sometimes you face adversity and you gotta pick yourself up by the bootstraps and just dig in. And we got through the day, and it was all because of a couple from North Penn. I want to give a shout out to them. Panatsky, I'm murdering his last name, but Matt and his wife were amazing. And they hooked us up with this little a generator type deal. And then I hit up my boy Jay Roy, who runs Xfinity Live, who I've struck up a relationship over the years, all those great people, Justin, the list goes on. And here I am hitting him up on game day going, can I borrow cords? And Jay Roy was in Baltimore, Maryland. He's like, dude, I got you. All good. And he was able to hook us up. We were able to make it through. But still, man, one thing I do is I pride myself on accountability, and I dropped the ball big time. But we got through it. Beef, I don't know if he remembers it, but it was a damn good time. And here we are now. Just making it happen.
I hear about Beefgate. I hear about Beefgate, and I see the pictures and the videos, and I'm like, man, wow. I can't hang.
Beef was beefed up. Beef was beef. Me and Beef need to sit down and have a conversation and talk a little bit about, it's just like, hey man, dial it up. He wasn't there. He was gone. It's his party. He was gone. I don't know. It was a good time. Let's just put it that way. But shout out to everybody. It was a great time. Once again, Beef Up Front Tailgate. And he's listening right now, so I know he's loving that. With that being said, let's talk about the NBA Finals, Mark Henry Jr. We got ourselves a 9.5-point spread. Oklahoma City at home. Pacers, demonic Indiana Pacers. And they had the opportunity in that game 4, Mark. And the big thing for me was if the Pacers would have held home court and won that tough game 4. I get it. You got a desperate Oklahoma City team. But if they were able to do that, like they had to win one more home game. After game 3, that was the first thing that hit me. It's like, wait a minute, the Pacers, all they got to do is win home games, and they're the NBA champions. Like, that's insane. So there it was, their opportunity. Of course, SGA goes for 35, 15 in the fourth quarter, starts and ends with him. But now we hit the fast forward button, and I'm not one of these guys that say, I don't know if Indiana could recover after that. Now, BS. That's we've been talking about this team like that for a month now plus. They can recover. But we are talking about an Oklahoma City team now that sees it and can taste it, and they're at home, where home court advantage has to have some sort of factor tonight, right? But 9.5, where do you stand on that game and everything I just said right there?
The spread is disrespectful. Like I'll get into, me and Sean Bernard argued a bit on Saturday after game 4, but the spread is disrespectful. Indiana is so clearly closer to OKC than we were willing to admit going into the series, and that Vegas is still willing to admit. 9.5 is crazy. The fact that they were the underdogs that they were at home was crazy, even though, oh my God, them not covering game 4 is a scar I will never heal from. That was my best bet of the day on Friday. After game 2, I had the under, which was under all the way, and then they scored 15 points in the last 2 minutes of garbage time with a blowout, and James Johnson hits a layup with 16 seconds left for no reason to go over in game 2. I've had a rough game 2 and game 4. Game 1 and game 3, the Pacers wins. I had the money line, so those were nice nights for me. But I'm betting the Pacers. I'm betting the money line too. Just because I think that the numbers are too crazy. Plus 333 and plus 9.5 is crazy. But what I will say is that they lost the NBA Finals on Friday, and it's a shame to say that, and I hate to say that as someone who's been riding with the Pacers for months now at this point. But Sean Bernard thought that was wrong to say that, and that it's wrong to count them out. They still have a chance. I'm not saying they don't have a chance, but if you win game 4, they would have had a 75% chance to win the series. Probably have a 25% chance to win the series. Now, I think your win probability of the series went down by about 50%. So that's a pretty massive swing. Whether we can say it's over, whether we can say they lost the finals, I think if they do lose the finals, you can say they lost the finals that night.
I agree.
So that's where I'm at.
We're in agreement on everything, because I do like the Pacers tonight point spread. They've been disrespected with these numbers. We know what OKC is capable. We saw it in game 2 with the blowout, but there was a lot that went into that game. And specifically speaking from my eyes, trusting what I saw, the Pacers kind of took the foot off the gas pedal defensively, and that's why it ended up getting lopsided. They took game 1. I'm not going to sit here and they say that we don't care about game 2, but there was a lot less of like in-your-face defense and perimeters, and OKC, credit to them all. They hit all those shots. So I wasn't surprised that one got out of hand. Tonight, like, it can't get out of hand, right? It's 9.5. I'm riding with the Pacers, and I normally don't take a dog if I don't think they can win. I think OKC wins tonight. I respect your take as far as money line is concerned.
I think if OKC has a better than 50% chance to win the game. I just think you don't get a lot of plus 33 chances. Like, I'm trying to think about it like an NFL line. Like, what you have to be like an 11, 12 point dog, right? To be like a plus 30, plus 350-ish range, I'd say.
Yeah.
In the NFL. Yeah. Think about how unlikely we feel that an 11 or a 12 point dog is going to win any given Sunday in the NFL. Like, there's not a lot of times we come on the radio being like, I think this 11 point dog has a chance to win the game on Sunday. Like, It's not very rare. So think about like plus 30, plus 333 in an NBA Finals game. Like, in a series that's 2-2. Like, it's just crazy to me. I'm not saying the Pacers are going to win the game. I'm just saying, like, I bet the Pacers money line in game 1 and game 2 and game 3 just because I thought the line was too high. I'm doing it again here.
Wow, we just had a no-hitter thrown in the College World Series, Arkansas.
Fun fact, I flew out of Omaha the day the College World Series started. Wow. Everybody's flying into Omaha. I'm flying out.
Were you in Omaha?
I was in Lincoln. Actually, I was
How far is Omaha from Lincoln?
45 minutes.
Ooh, that's cool.
Closer.
Damn, did you even think about staying around, going to a game at all? That's
too much travel lately for me.
Okay.
On the road, so I had to get home to the wife and dog. But
Gotcha. Respect it.
More the dog than the wife, but I'd say, my friends are actually. I have a buddy who lives in Omaha. Got married in Omaha out there last year, so I've been out there before. So I stayed with my buddy on Wednesday night. My other friend and his wife are going this week to the College World Series. Like they're flying out to my buddy's house to stay with him and to go to the College World Series. But just didn't lie. If I was there this week and my friends were flying in as I was about to leave, maybe I would have thought about it. But yeah,
I would definitely check out a game or two and hit up that bar with all those Jello shots. And I would imagine
Rocco's.
There's not a lot else going on in Omaha, Nebraska. All love and respect. Home of 311. Oh, what, you're going to tell me it's a party house?
Omaha and Lincoln felt like suburby areas to me.
Okay.
And as someone who flies all over the country and has now been to more than half the states, I've been in some podunk areas. Nixon, Missouri. Springfield, Missouri, not great. Some North Carolina areas, not my favorite. Omaha and Lincoln felt like civilization.
Okay. It's good to know. Well, Arkansas just hit the third, or just through the third no-hitter in College World Series history. 19 strikeouts against Murray State. Those racers were not ready to go today. I am alive. I got a Louisville ticket. I took Louisville a week ago, and that ticket's still alive. So they actually have one loss. We'll see what happens there.
I've got to take. You know how I don't like golf and soccer. College baseball is below all of them. I got no interest in college baseball. And I think it's I've talked about this a lot before. I think it's a big part of the reason that the MLB has lagged behind, obviously the NFL, but the NBA as well. Because the NBA has this feeder system of college basketball and the tournament and March Madness, and we all get excited to watch that. And then that feeds right into the NBA. And obviously we know college football is the second biggest. College football is bigger than the NBA. So that feeds into the NFL, and that keeps the NFL churning, and we are aware of these new stars. College World Series comes, and it's, they'll get drafted by the Cardinals. Guess what? You'll wait 3 years to see them.
Yeah, if you see them. Yeah.
Yeah, they might not ever make it.
I don't know if you watched that clip, but I sent the clip of Kershaw in the dugout yesterday where he was talking about the trade.
Yeah.
First of all, he knows what the hell he's talking about. It's Clayton Kershaw. I've been around the game forever.
I love Kershaw.
So if he's got a future in the booth, I'll tell you what, man. He does have a future if he wants to get in the booth. Let's put it that way. But he was talking about how, don't talk to me about kids in college. Like, I don't care where he was drafted. What do you do in the pros? And it was hilarious, but it's the reality of what it is because, you could be in second. I saw, what was his name? Former Philly in the minor leagues. He just made a dive and catch. He's with Cleveland. Aaron Altier, is that his name?
Maybe.
I'm like, yeah. I was like, what happened to him? There's just so many good players that just end up in the minors. You're right, though. I will say this one quick thought on College World Series. Maybe not the World Series itself, but I love the regionals and the super regionals. Definitely watch those. Those are good. One and done. And then the super regionals are 2 and best out of 3. Really good stuff. But the College Baseball World Series, it doesn't do well as far as ratings are concerned.
And for me, it's like I want the Phillies drafting high school dudes. Like I want 18-year-olds, like 19-year-olds. I don't want this 22-year-old who then might take 3 years and we bring them up at 25 and they're washed by the time they get their second contract. Like and the Phillies, by the way, have taken that stance under Dombrowski in recent. It's why we've ended up with Painter, Abel, some of these guys, Aiden Miller, who are still really young, despite, they've been with us for a while now, but they're all really young. So they've kind of taken that, view as well, which is as someone who has been addicted to MLB The Show over the last couple of weeks, franchises.
How's that franchise going for you?
Oh, we've rebuilt like 5 teams already. I did the Pirates, Rockies, Angels. We made it to 2033.
Are you on PS5? Is that what you are? PS5?
On Xbox, unfortunately.
You're Xbox.
On Xbox. My little brother is an Xbox guy, and I used to try to play Fortnite to keep up with him, just to have something to. Hello, it was my Steve Buscemi gif. Hello, how are you doing, fellow kids?
Yeah,
with me playing Fortnite with my little brother, but I got tricked into Xbox with him. I wish I was PS.
Yeah, I tried the Fortnite thing. I couldn't do it, and My daughter now, she likes racing games, so I'm trying to involve her for Super Mario Kart. We play Paw Patrol race, but Mario Kart is where I'm at. And Sean Bernard had a great call. He said, buy a Wii. Buy a Nintendo Wii, because I don't want to get the Switch, because then I'm going to get addicted and I'm going to be playing 100 different. No, he's like, buy a Wii specifically for that. Get the wheel thing. She's going to love it. I think he's onto something there. All right. Quickly
in 9 days, I'm heading to Super Nintendo World at Epic Universe.
How about that?
Can't wait.
Wow. It's going to be beautiful. All right. Quickly on this. I got 2 ones on the way out here, but stay with the NBA Finals. One player, not SGA, that's going to have a good game tonight. Who you got?
Let's go with Jekyll and Hyde. Benedict Mathurin comes back after ruining the last couple minutes of Game 4. He was unbelievable in Game 3. That's kind of how those 6-man types are. If the Pacers hang in this game, I think Benedict Mathurin shows up.
All right, and Sean Bernard, shout out to him last Wednesday.
He loves Benedict Mathurin. That's his favorite player in the league.
He cashed in. First of all, he had the Pacers money line. That was plus whatever. He hit that. He had Mathurin over 20. That was 15-1. My friend from DraftKings texted me the other day. I think something along the lines of like for him to lead a game in scoring was 140-1. So we'll see if that's something that we can dial up again for Benedict. He is at 9+ at -110. So if he reaches double digits, you're cashing in. We'll see what happens there. I'm looking at my guys, Caruso and TJ McConnell, man. I love watching those guys play out there. They're ballers. And Obi Toppin has been proving me right sometimes. He's had some good games, but he's had some games where he
love Obi Toppin.
Yeah, man. I'm an Obi Toppin guy. I'm glad to see that he's just not afraid. Like, he'll go down there and mix it up. I don't know if I want him shooting 3-pointers. I don't know what the average is, what he's at, but
you can shoot.
Yeah, he can. He's actually 6, 7, 8 shots per game. I don't know about all threes, but still, like, he's a guy that's a high flyer. We think of the dunk contest. I like Obi Toppin. I do.
If he was a star for 30-35 minutes,
that didn't cash a couple years ago for the pandemic.
If Toppin was a starter getting 30 to 35 minutes a game, I think he averaged like 28.
Wow.
20 and 8, not 28.
Yeah, 20 and 8. Yeah, still pretty damn good. All right. Solitaire. You a fan of solitaire?
No, not a solitaire guy. Blackjack, if anything.
All right. How about Stephen A. Smith getting caught playing solitaire? Is there any excuse? Is there anything that, like, dude, are you kidding me? And then of all teams, first of all, it's NBA Finals, but you had people like Lou Will and Chandler Parsons talk about, like, I haven't watched the Pacers all season long. And then you got them in the finals, and Stephen A. Smith, not during a timeout, during the game, is playing solitaire. Is there any excuse you could cook up from SAS perspective?
The only way you can save this is bring Skip back. We need Stephen A. and Skip on TV together. We need it back. It's the only way they can both exist. Go put it on the Ocho, and I'll never watch it. But
bring Shannon back before Skip.
Nah, the Skip and I get it. Skip's the worst person alive. The Skip and Stephen A. era, they had a run, man. The Tebow, LeBron on the Heat era, that Skip and Stephen A. first take run is untouchable.
Nothing matters anymore, so you might as well do it.
That's kind of my point. Stephen A. is it's the first take is meant to die at this point. Like, I don't know anyone.
He's never been there, though. That's the issue too. He's never in studio, and it's just a whole different show when he's not in studio. It's just like, all right, man.
But the people are horrible. The people they're bringing on, like, I can't. Every time I see a social clip break out, JJ used to be really good on that show.
JJ was good, and Jason Williams, why am I drawing a blank? Yeah, Jay Will. Yeah, he gives it to him. He was on there today giving it to him.
I'm not a Jay Will guy.
Yeah, and that's the issue too. Neither am I. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they need to do something different. Maybe get rid of First Take altogether.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a whole other. They should. But Stephen A's making $80 million a year to go play solitaire on the side. I mean, you can't take anything. See how many names he messes up on a regular basis. Like, you can't take Stephen. You can't even watch the sports. He's working too much. Like, you can't take anything he says at face value. He's just there as, like, theatrics. At least if it's going to be there for theatrics, put him with Skip.
All right, and then finally we'll end on this one. The Glizzy Gladiator is back. Yes. Joey Chestnut, Joey Jaws will be competing for the hot dog eating competition 4th of July. Does that get you all hot and bothered, ready to go for the hot dog eating contest up there in Coney Island?
What if he lost it? If he's washed after a year off?
I just wanted to say Glizzy Gladiator. What a name.
He's the greatest American athlete.
He really is.
Number
he
one.
really is. All right, real quick on this one, because you did bring up college football. What's the first thing you're thinking of right now on this day here, June 16th? Long way to go, but right around the corner. College football, what's going through your mind? Where are you at?
Quack, quack. I'm all in on the Ducks. All in on the Ducks. Dante Moore was a big 5-star quarterback a couple of years ago. Was at UCLA his freshman year. Played a little bit with Chip, but then ended up they were struggling, and they brought in a more experienced kid to play. But then he sat last year all year at Oregon behind Dylan Gabriel, learned that system, and now he's stepping in. So I think a lot of people, he's getting thrown with like some of the other names that are freshmen or young guys coming in to start at big programs. I think he's been around a little bit longer. Like, he's a little bit more experienced. He sat in the system. I like how they're set up at quarterback. And also, that's not the main reason. They got Evan Stewart out wide, who's going to be one of the best receivers in the country. They have a loaded defense. The coach is fantastic. Obviously, Dan Lanning needs to get over top. We saw Ryan Day get over the top last year. I think we see Dan Lanning get over the top this year. If you're making me go national championship today, I'll go Oregon LSU. How about that?
My family, Brian Kelly getting it done down there in LSU. I like that.
Plus, Nuts Myers cruising to a Heisman.
Wow, 20-1 for LSU, Oregon plus 850. I love it. I'm glad we stumbled into some college football talk. Of course, we got the magazines coming out. I got myself my first beach vacation booked for the middle of July. Looking forward to just relaxing and reading maybe like two to 3 pages. I got 2 kids. I said I got a kid. Well, again, I got a newborn, which won't be doing anything, but I got a 5-year-old that I got to keep entertained. So I'll get maybe 2 to 3 pages, and it will look cool, and I'll tweet about it, but actually won't read a damn thing. But in my mind, I can't wait for it. Can't wait. Mark, you're the best.
Reading.
Yes, exactly. We'll do it again a little bit later this week. A lot to discuss. Of course, Phillies with that big series coming up against the Mets, but not hitting the fast forward button just yet. We do have a game tonight against the Marlins. We both are on the Phillies against Sandy Alcantara. Good luck as far as all those plays are concerned. Mark, we'll listen to you on Saturday from 11 to 1. Tough Cover Radio Show. We'll catch up later this week. Always a pleasure, sir.
Phil's Country. Let's ride.
Phil's Country taking us out. There he is. I like it. Mark Henry Jr., he's been around the world. You heard it. Giving us the breakdown in Nebraska, Missouri. He said North Carolina. I was about to whoa. What do you think about North Carolina? The eastern side. Well, Greensboro lacks a little. The eastern part of the state is where I was. I get it. Kind of some small places. I mean, but you got the beach right there. And if you can get to Wilmington, that's no joke. Atlantic Beach is great. Of course, you got the Outer Banks. That's like a little bit of a cruise, though. Raleigh's amazing. Charlotte's amazing. I wanted to push back a little bit. All the mountains up in North Carolina. Push back a little bit on North Carolina, but it's good to know as far as Nebraska is concerned. If I ever make it out to Omaha for a game, it is a fun place to be at. All right. Once again, NBA Finals Game 5 this evening. Best of 3 between those 2 teams, Pacers and the Thunder. And we got ourselves Sam Ostry and Sean Bernard coming up next. Picks and roll, all things NBA Finals. They're going to recap what took place from the weekend. They're going to look ahead tonight, talk a little bit about the futures, talk a little bit about the props, giving you the best insight around on all things NBA Finals. That is coming up next. I'll be back tomorrow, brand new daily ticket. Got some fun guests booked this week, ready to go. Friday, doing some Mets and Phillies conversation with our guy Mike Powers. He's going to join me in studio. We'll have some fun there. Natalie Eganoff will be back with us, and Sam Ostry on Thursday. Got some new guests that we're trying to book here over the next few weeks, getting ready for football season. So a lot going on. Make sure you're following us on all things socials, and of course, subscribing to our YouTube channel, where I do want to say this. We didn't have an opportunity to get too much into it because last week was last week. It was Wednesday night. The Wheel of Misfortune was a huge hit. Thank you very much to everybody that watched, that tweeted about it. Thank you to the Gambler Gang that hung out. Buster from Q102. It was our first one, so we wanted to have a little bit of a trial and error period with this, but we're going to take that concept and make it 10 times better the next time we do it. And I have a funny feeling that it's going to be for all things Eagles away games for this upcoming year. We're going to be doing a lot for the Eagles away games as far as that is concerned with our watch parties, and then some. A busy football season on the horizon for us here at The Gambler. Fun Monday show. Good luck on all those plays. I'll take the Pacers plus 9.5. And you know what? I'm going to roll with Mark Henry Jr. I'm going to take a little bit on the money line as well. Might as well sprinkle at plus 330 on the Pacers to win and go up 3-2 with an opportunity to win the NBA championship at home. When's that next game being played? Next week? I know that game 6 will be in Indiana. So it's, wow, you want to talk about an opportunity of a lifetime there. That's it. But they got to get through tonight. We'll see what happens. I'll take the 9.5, sprinkle a little bit on the money line. Everybody, don't touch that dial. Keep it locked right here to the Gambler Picks and Roll. Sam Ostry, Sean Bernard is next. I'll talk to you.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming